I'm Brianna. And I'm Akira. And you're watching Dante's Boxing Nation.
The following program may contain language of an adult nature. Listener discretion is advised.
Even the government agrees.
He's a dangerous man!
Niggas is deep cap, I stick him through the cream.
Hey, yo, check this out. This is Flavor Flav. And if you want the whole truth and nothing but the whole truth, so help the whole truth. Hey, yo, you better listen to Dante, baby. Dante!
What's going on, guys, and welcome to another great edition of the Dante's Boxing Nation Show. I am your host, Dante, and first things first, I want to go ahead and plug the Box Fan Expo. I want you guys to all check that out, September 12th. All the best fighters are going to be there, so go out, support, meet and greet all your favorite fighters. It'll be a big night of boxing, because it's also on the same night of the Mayweather versus Berto fight. Now, first things first, as always, or second things, let me go ahead and introduce my panel, the boxing panel. My man, Boxing Ego, what's going on, man?
What up, yo? Let's get it in.
All right. I got my girl, Miss Boxing Baby, holding it down. Y'all could also read her articles on nationboxing.com. What's going on, Miss Boxing Baby?
I'm good. What's going on?
Okay, I got my producer in the building, George. What's going on now?
Just happy to push the buttons.
And let me go ahead and give a big introduction for my man over here on the phone with us, the former WBA super welterweight champion of the world, Austin No Doubt Trout. What's going on, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Thanks for having me.
No doubt.
In the future, I'm going to get that bet back.
Hey, that's what it is. Yes, I see you don't like that former word. So anyway, let's go ahead and start off with you, Austin Trout. You have a fight on September 8th on the PBC series against Joey Hernandez. What's your thoughts on your return back into the ring? And I heard a lot of people poured out on you. Talk on that, Austin Trout.
A lot of people what?
A lot of people pulled out. A lot of people. I heard you had other opponents that pulled out.
Yeah, that's the Anthony Bumdeen. The thing that irks me the most about him pulling out like that is, this is like the first time he's done that. This is like the second or third time he's pulled out of a fight, and every time he goes back and tells the Australians, that it's my fault, he's pulling out. And I guess in a sense it is, because I was going to whoop his ass, and he figured he didn't want that belt whooping because I was going to expose him. But enough about him. All eyes are on Joey Hernandez, who's another big mouth kid, who runs his mouth and talks a lot of head. I really don't like him, to be honest, personally. But at the same time, we're not going to let that affect the game plan. The game plan is going to stick to the script. We're going to beat him up real good. It's going to feel good punching him in the mouth.
So do you know him? Do you know him personally, or is it just he just been running his mouth recently since the fight has been signed?
Actually, a couple of years ago, via Twitter, he's one of those keyboard warriors. I never spoke to him or seen him in real life, and I doubt he'd say half the stuff he types. So, really, I don't really respect any keyboard warrior. He gets a chance to back it up, though, come September 8th. But, years ago on Twitter, he started running his mouth, and then, he jabs here and there. No one reads it. He ain't got no following. Mm-hmm. But I read it. I heard what he's saying.
I heard that. That's funny you bringing this up because we don't usually get to beat up the keyboard warriors. You know what I mean? You getting a chance to get in the ring with one of the keyboard warriors. So that's pretty cool.
It'll be lovely. Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you see, Austin? You see a knockout? You see a slow death? What do you see, man?
It really is all up to Joey. How much can he take? If he could take a ball with him for 10 rounds, then, it'll be a slow, agonizing death for him. If he can't, then we can get out there early and get to the after party.
Uh-huh. Do you feel you shook off your rust from the last fight, or did you feel there was even any rust in your last fight?
I'm ready to jump right back into it, in the swing of things. I had a couple of fights with Barry Hunter. This will be my third fight now. We got a good chemistry together. And I'm ready to go for the big dogs. But first things first, we got to get past Hernandez. We're not taking anybody lightly. I'm talking big, but I'm putting in the work. so that way I could back up everything I say.
There it is. Boxing Eagle, you got anything on that?
Well, yeah, I had a question for Austin. Before I start, I was going to say shout out to New Mexico. A little ego fun fact: I was actually born in New Mexico, so shout out to everybody.
That's what's up.
I know.
Where you born at?
I was born on the Air Force Base, Holloman.
Okay, I'm glad that's less than an hour away from me.
Oh yeah, yeah. You in La Cruces?
Las Cruces, yes sir, yes sir.
Okay, so you're holding it down from New Mexico.
Shout out to Eagle, man. He's a New Mexican, so that's the fuck.
We got some New Mexicans on the phone.
I get excited when I meet anybody that's from New Mexico. It doesn't happen too often.
It don't happen too often,
Yeah.
Tapia, there's not that many people who were from that area. But I was going to say, what do you think about the whole PBC structure and platform is giving you another opportunity, not just as a fighter, but also as a commentator? So what do you think about the hate that Al Heyman gets in the overall PBC structure?
Well, first of all, as a fan, I love the PBC whole game where it's everywhere. You know, I think they're going to try to take over every night of the week. I'm fighting on a Tuesday. They already have fights on Saturdays, Sundays, Fridays. You know, and again, as a fan, it's so dope to have all this boxing on all the time. And for free, like I was able to cancel all the network TV that was running my cable bill way high because all the good fights are happening on basic cable. As a fighter, definitely humbled and blessed to be a part of this. You know, this is my first, real PBC debut, and millions upon millions, are going to be able to watch me as opposed to the prestigious boxing fans who get the Showtime and HBO just for the boxing. So my exposure is going to, increase tenfold, by this move that Al made. And not to mention him giving me another job as being a commentator, that was definitely a blessing in itself because, like I've said before, I can only box for so long. Can talk about boxing forever.
Yeah. Hey, Austin, why do you think it is all of the fighters that are signed with Al Heyman, they are so happy? I mean, there's no one complaining. There's no one trying to sue Al Heyman. And even fighters that aren't, signed with him, they're trying their best to be signed with Al Heyman. But yet, there's somewhat of a divide when it comes to the fans, or I won't even say all the fans. It's like a small percentage, like Boxing Eagle said, of people that are hating. But what they say, it doesn't really coincide with the reality of what the boxers are actually feeling. Why is there such a divide from the boxers and some of these casual fans?
Well, for me, I'm glad you call them casual fans because, they claim that they're hardcore fans. You have a problem with all this free boxing and all this boxing going on. And these ain't just, bum fights like they used to, like De La Hoya would put on this De La Hoya live fight. This fights was whack. These are good fights that you would have to pay for. If you have a problem with that, you ain't a fan. You know what I'm saying? And really, I wish you would just go on to MMA and ruin that sport because you're ruining this game with all that negativity, that negative energy. Like, how could you not like what's going on in boxing right now? He's bringing it back to the golden days when Ali fought on NBC. You know what I'm saying? Now, granted, he would fight like Joe Frazier on the HBO or the pay-per-view, whatever it is. But he was on CBS World of Sports. Ray Leonard was on CBS World of Sports. You know what I'm saying? It's bringing it back to the golden days of boxing, and I'm a fan of the game first. And I could not complain. Even if I wasn't a fighter, in the mix of it, I would be so happy of what's going on. And I know why all the fighters are happy about being with Al because, one, he never tells you what you have to do. He only gives you his advice. He's true to his title as an advisor. You know what I'm saying? You have to take any of the fight. Matter of fact, he says, what do you want to do? And I think this would be a good move if you did this, But if you tell me that you want this, you can have this. The fighters he's putting the control back in the fighter's hand, and not to mention, he's putting the money back into the fighter's pocket.
Yeah.
There was only two people getting rich, back before Al. And that was the promoter and the television network. Meanwhile, the fighters were getting the scraps that they felt like throwing us. Now we are getting good paydays. You know what I mean? Maybe not what Sugar Ray Leonard got on his pro debut. I think that was like $40,000 for pro debut, but it's definitely getting back to it.
Now, to switch gears, Austin, there's a real big fight coming up. Outside of yours, is November 21st. It's Canelo versus Cotto, two fighters that you've been in the ring with. I want you to break it down if you can, Trout, and tell me what are these fighters' weaknesses and what are their strengths.
Cotto's experience, I think, is what can pull him over and get the edge if it gets to the later rounds, because Canelo, he gasses out. But before I start going into the breakdown, I think Canelo's going to win. Canelo's younger, stronger, faster, and he's got good explosive speed. But again, like I said, he fades out towards the end of the fight. And hopefully, Cotto is looking like he's been looking against Canelo, like he's been doing against, the opponents he's had. I would love for Cotto to smash Canelo. It would be so good for me, personally. That's just a selfish thing, but I think Canelo would get that. That win.
That's interesting.
So, I agree too. In your opinion, who is the harder single shot puncher? Who hits harder?
Canelo, but again, at the same time, Cotto never really caught me flush, so
true.
Not a fair judgment. But I would say Canelo, and he was the first one who ever dropped me. Although I ate more than just one right hand, that whole fight.
Did you?
That was a close fight, and it reminded me of Marquez and Pacquiao 2. That the only difference was the knockdown. Other than that, the fight was close. You see how people had to score that fight with Marquez and Pacquiao? It was so close, so they had to get the edge Pacquiao only because of the knockdown in the third round. That's what that fight reminded me of. It was back and forth.
Yeah.
The other thing that I hated in that fight
too, I think that.
Huh?
The thing.
Go ahead, Box Amigo.
Well, I was just going to say the thing that I hated about watching that fight, I feel like your game plan had to alter based on the open scoring because they had you down by a ridiculous. I thought
that was the biggest variable.
It was like, this is a close fight. And then they had you down by, all rounds. I was like, there's no, you had to go for a knockout. So what do you think of open scoring?
Yeah. Open scoring is a joke, man. It takes all the fun out of it. It's why people don't watch the Olympics no more. They tell you, who's winning, and after they get that lead, they start running for the rest of the fight. The Cubans mastered it, and I'm glad that they're going back to more of a pro-style scoring. But at the same time, that was the biggest factor of the fight. I was getting the rhythm around. I even went back to the coach, yo, he's reaching. I'm about to hurt this head. My coach looked at the score and said, all right, stop boxing. They're not giving me no round. I said, none? No. None of them? No. Damn.
Man.
Okay. You know what I mean? They put me in a bit of a panic mode, and I got over-aggressive and got caught.
Mm-hmm. Hey, but
I wish that Cotto could get the revenge for you, but I just feel like that fight is a 60-40 fight in favor of Canelo, and I'm only saying that because I think at this stage in the game, I don't see Cotto being able to box him for 12 rounds without getting busted up. His skin tissue is soft. It's always been like that. But with a kid like him, he's young, Canelo's young, he's fresh, he doesn't have a lot of wear and tear. He never took a lot of beating. I just feel like it's going to be the factor, and I have him stopping him late. I don't even think it's going 12.
Well, you know what?
Also, if Cotto makes him come down to 154 like he's been making all the other people do, I think Canelo's having a hard time making it. And again, my man gasses out. If Cotto, if 55, well, he gets down, cool. But if he gets to the later rounds, if Cotto can keep it close to the later rounds, I think Cotto can pull away with his experience.
Yeah.
So that's if he even gets there, Canelo might, bust him up like you said.
Hey, Austin, I'm completely in the minority because I think Cotto's going to win the fight. Only chance I give Canelo to win this fight is by knockout, like just landing one good shot. But I can't see Canelo winning rounds against Cotto. And Cotto has the jab, he has the defense, he has that tight, chin down, high guard. Even it looked to me like even Floyd Mayweather had a hard time landing all the punches that he wanted to land. I believe Cotto is going to pull off the upset, man. But like I said, I'm not underestimating Canelo's power. Go ahead.
I'm not writing him off. I think he has a real good chance, which is why, as a fan, taking myself out of the picture and just being excited for a fight. I'm super excited for this fight.
Yeah.
You know, they both could bang. They both could fight. This is a great matchup. You got the whole Puerto Rican versus Mexican crowd.
Yeah.
I know Vegas is going to be nuts for that.
Yeah. Hey,
that is definitely a fight to watch.
Yeah. Now, obviously, you're going to hang out with us for the whole hour, Austin, so I want to move around and, you know, you jump in whenever. But Boxing Eagle, I want to ask you real quick about some comments that Canelo just recently made. It seems to me like Canelo is starting to buy into what the casual fans are always posting. Now, I always hear the fans say it. Now I'm hearing Canelo say, yeah, this fight is going to be a real fight, not like the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight. But what I don't understand is when Floyd fought Canelo, that was a real fight. So I mean, how do you explain Canelo saying something like that, Boxing Ego?
I mean, you already know what it is. We've seen ESPN give Caitlin Courage Awards and Ronda Rousey the Fight of the Year Awards. We know how the politics and the game go. If you're on the other side, you're not making money together, then the goal is to attack the other side. We hate what Heyman's doing because we're not making money with Heyman. When Oscar was making money with Heyman, there weren't really any complaints. But now that there's a separation, Heyman's on his own, doing his own thing. Now you hear all these lawsuits and stuff like that. So I think it's more of the same. And the funny thing about that whole comment is if you really look at it, Canelo had his opportunity. He was over 10 years younger than Mayweather. He was undefeated. He was coming off the Trout win. We got the man Trout on the phone. And he had his golden opportunity, the golden ticket to Mayweather at age 22 or whatever. And guess what? He stunk up the joint and didn't do anything. I gave Floyd pretty much every round. And even if you did give Canelo a round in the Mayweather fight, it was just more or less based on him doing better in those rounds, in the first 3 rounds, than he did later in the round. So actually Pacquiao had more of a performance because there was definitive rounds where Pacquiao won, namely round 4. So, I mean, Pacquiao, if they're saying it's a real fight, I mean, Canelo had his opportunity, and what did he do? You know what I mean? With Mayweather, nothing. He got schooled for 12 rounds. So it's just funny to hear him say that because you had an opportunity to have a real fight with Mayweather, and you came up very short. Pacquiao at least had a competitive 1 round or whatever, and saltwater shoulder and all that.
And the Lord, you forgot about the Lord. Go ahead, Boxing Baby.
I think that I'm not mad at Canelo for saying that. He's selling the fight. He was going to say, well, he probably didn't even watch the Pacquiao. He's selling the fight.
Well, that's my point. He's not sincere with it. It's not sincere though.
Yeah,
that's my whole point.
He watch the fight.
Yeah.
He's not sincere with it. He's just selling the fight, which he doesn't have to do because the fight alone, being a Puerto Rico versus Mexico, is taking you back to Wilfredo Gomez and Salvador Sanchez, things like that. So you want to watch it regardless. But I did a conference call the other day with them, and I'm talking every question started with the same phrase. But ever since the Mayweather-Pacquiao disappointment, how about, that's how they started every sentence.
Wow.
I had to hang up the phone. Every question. I didn't even get a chance to ask my question. Every question started with that. Even De La Hoya started with that.
Yeah.
You know, the disappointment of that fight, I don't know.
Hey,
look at this. I just have to say this real quick. For a person as boring as Floyd and the runner and ducker, coward and stuff, a lot of people sure do talk about him. That fight happened in May.
Thank you.
And we're still talking about
and pay to watch him. And pay to watch him.
Look at, yeah. Well, not even just that. We have a whole other sport in UFC. I've heard Conor McGregor on late night talk shows call out Floyd Mayweather. Ronda Rousey took jabs at Floyd Mayweather. Anderson, Spider, Silva, Dana White. You know what I'm saying? We have a whole different sport talking about Floyd Mayweather, but he's so boring and lame and all this. So it's just funny to me that the person that you feel is so boring gets the most exposure. Like, why don't we talk about what is exciting? Why don't you guys talk about Triple G this much or whoever? But people seem to keep reverting back to how boring Mayweather and Pacquiao. I'm off that. I'm already on the Mayweather, Berto, and everything else.
On to the next one.
Ggg-Lemieux. Yeah, like people are stuck in the past. It's over.
Hey, Austin, speaking of all of this, like Boxing Eagle brought up, they gave Ronda Rousey Fighter of the Year. Now, the funny thing about that is years before, they've always gave Fighter of the Year to Floyd Mayweather. But the year he fights Manny Pacquiao and beats him, this is the year they decide not to give him Fighter of the Year. Do you think it was personal just because they didn't want him to win, Austin Trout? What's your thoughts on that? Austin?
I'm sorry. They kicked me off twice.
Huh? What happened?
I don't know. It kicked me off. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, let me ask you the question again, Austin. I don't even know when you got disconnected, but anyway, we were talking about the Fighter of the Year situation. They gave it to Ronda Rousey, and the years before they had gave Floyd Mayweather, ESPN. They had gave Floyd Mayweather Fighter of the Year almost every year. The year he beat Manny Pacquiao, a fight that ESPN and everybody wanted to see, they decided to give Fighter of the Year award to someone else who's not even in the sport of boxing, Ronda Rousey. Do you think that was a personal jab at Floyd Mayweather, or what's your thoughts on that, Austin?
I think somebody sent them a big envelope full of money. He's probably Dana White. And how are you going to have Ronda Rousey? I'm not taking that from her because her background speaks for itself. But what she's doing now, she's beating up a bunch of girls that ain't even nearly as close to being experienced as she is. You know what I'm saying? She's a two-time Olympic medalist for judo. She's been doing this her whole life. Her mother was an Olympian medalist. And the girl she just knocked out has been trained for a total of 3 years. Total. On anybody in boxing that's been boxing for 3 minutes to fight, of course they're getting knocked out. That's what they was trained for the whole 3 years, is to come get knocked out by a big name like Ronda Rousey. You know what I mean? She only got 15 fights. She's been fighting none of these, tomato can girls that shouldn't be in there in the first place. Let me see her fight that chick Cyborg.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
Never happened because Cyborg is.
She a beast. I hear that a lot.
Then I'll be a believer.
He said, "Then you'll be a believer."
You know why they gave her Fighter of the Year? They wanted. They didn't want Mayweather to beat Pacquiao. You knew that was going to happen. I don't know why everybody acting surprised.
Yeah.
It's just sad, the politics and things like that playing the sport, and it's going across from the other side. I'm not buying none of that. I don't buy none of them MMA. How are you going to be 5-0 and win a world title? Like my man, what's the big ass dude? Looks like Jack from Tekken. He was a WWE wrestler.
Oh, what you talking about? You're not talking about Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar?
Yeah. Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
He was 5-1. He was knocked out, but was winning over that loss too.
Yeah.
And then he's a world champ for maybe 2 more fights. Then he lost to my man Cain Velasquez. It's a big circus, but you know why people are buying it? Because they promote nothing but positiveness for the fighters. They promote the fighters as killers, as dangerous people, whereas on the other side of boxing, they look for anything that they can find and nitpick and figure out why he doesn't belong in the ring.
Yeah.
These forms that they feed to these champs, they will paint them as a killer. He has a dangerous right hand. His takedown game is amazing. Can it be enough for Brock? You know what I mean? He's thinking like, oh, wow, he might have a fight on his hands. Little do we know. You know what I mean? They don't even show the record because he's been knocked out or tapped out, 8 times in his, 10-fight career.
Yeah. So you don't believe boxing?
Another thing.
Go ahead, Boxing Eagle.
I was going to say another reason it's politics is I don't know if a lot of people looked at the chronological order, but she received Fighter of the Year, and this is not a diss to Ronda Rousey, but she got Fighter of the Year before her last performance versus Bethe Correia in the knockout.
Point.
The knockout hadn't even happened. So basically, she got the Fighter of the Year over all these other fights, Terrence Crawford, fighters like Triple G, Cowboy Cerrone, Floyd Mayweather, off of one performance. Because the Bethe Correia, at the time they had the ESPYs, hadn't happened yet because it just happened after that. So, you know what I'm saying? It just goes to show you
even more proof.
How you get fighting.
It's even more proof.
Even more proof.
How do you get Fight of the Year and you never headlined your own fight? Because that was the first time she headlined her own pay-per-view. So she took Fight of the Year before even being a winner. That's a little more proof. And what it does is that, and also plus the whole Courage Award to Caitlyn Jenner, that just made the ESPYs less
incredible. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm rating ESPYs so hard. Y'all give these Jones away for anything.
And that's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm hearing a lot on the streets.
I'm glad y'all gave me that UFC lesson because I don't watch the UFC, so I knew nothing about it. I've never watched one fight.
Yeah.
MMA, none of it. So I'm glad y'all gave me that lesson. Thank you.
but I'm hearing that.
I'm not feeling. I don't want to piss off the LGBT community by slamming Caitlyn Jenner. This is how I look at it. You waited until you got divorced from the wife that you were clearly afraid of to get this done. Like, why don't you do that, John, when you was with her? that would have been more courageous. She would have let you. That's why. That ain't courage, man. You was getting fun.
Now it's more money and more publicity.
But
that's what it's about. And I'm not saying he doesn't really feel that way. No disrespect to that. It's not my thing, but whatever. But it was publicity. That's what that was for. And now look at him. He's bigger than he was on the show. On the show, it was about the Kardashians. Now it's about him or her, whatever.
Yeah.
It's about
Dante, you got to look at.
Go ahead, boxing.
You got to look at it like this too. You got to look at it like this. There's a UK boxing promoter, famous promoter, Frank Maloney. He did that way before it came.
Yeah.
But he's not as big as the Kardashians and the Jenner. He changed his gender and went girl.
It's a good point.
I'm not Frank Maloney anymore. I'm a girl. Where's his Courage Award? He's not big enough.
Where's his Courage Award? He did it in the boxing business. We don't really tolerate that. You know what I mean? Boxing is a very machismo type sport, and he did that as a boxing promoter. You know what I'm saying? That's courage. Delahaye still won't come out there. He likes to be dressed up in female clothes. So, you know,
interesting point.
One of the most loved fighters in the game still won't admit that he's a cross-dresser.
That's a point.
Like I said, where's Paul Williams' Courage Award? I mean, to me,
that's a good point. That's a good point.
Sergio Martinez, that tragic accident, I didn't see no SP for him. That to me, that took courage to be a monster like he was in the ring. And then now your whole career off your hands and feet.
And still keep your head up.
What they're promoting in
he does a lot for the community.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah, he does. He has that Paul Williams Foundation. He's very active in it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he always has a chipper attitude, like, yeah, this is God's plan. I'm like, man. But then we sit up here and praise. And I don't care if you're a transgender or whatever, that's your business. But we sit up and praise the wrong things. There's a lot of PR moves being done behind the scenes.
Yep.
That's it. That's all.
You know what I mean? Like, the Kardashians will get a trending topic. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Now let's jump, switch gears real quick, and I want to ask you guys about Pacquiao. Now, a couple days ago, it was reported that Pacquiao, he's probably going to be fighting against Amir Khan, but I just read an article today on BoxingNews24.com, and they're saying that it actually will most likely be Crawford before it will be Amir Khan. And we know that Crawford, he just signed a fight. I guess his name is Deary John, a guy who lost to Lamont Peterson.
Yeah,
he lost to Lamont Peterson.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so a lot of people looking at that as a soft touch. Yeah, he beat him pretty easy. I mean, which fight would you prefer to see, Austin Trout? Pacquiao versus Crawford or Pacquiao versus Khan? Or can he even win any of those fights?
Either one of them is better than the fight he's taking now, and I don't see nobody slamming Pacquiao for the move he made. But Mayweather, who's beating all of them, aside from Khan and Crawford, can't fight Berto, who was a champ at one point. Let the man battle gracefully. I'm sick of the double standards that they put in his boxing game. Mm-hmm. You know, like for instance, and I'm getting off of Kovalev, just be able to comedy. Who cannot throw a jab. I don't know if you saw that fight. That dude was garbage.
Yeah, I seen it.
His chin was in the air. He was horrible. Yeah,
worse than Andre Berto.
Somebody, I agree people talking head about me for Hernandez. He only got 3 losses. Those are 3 good fighters. You know what I'm saying? He's about to have the 4th. Another good fighter. But needless to say, Joey Hernandez is better than the cat that Copeland beat up.
Muhammadi? Oh, please. I mean,
he was garbage. He couldn't throw a jab.
Mm-hmm.
You already know?
Yeah. And like so Austin, so you believe that if Pacquiao would have beat Mayweather and then said he was fighting Andre Berto next, you don't believe people would have had a problem with it?
I don't. Nah. If Pacquiao beat Mayweather and Mayweather said, if Pacquiao said I'll fight Berto next, people would have been in love with it.
Yeah.
Yep.
They would.
He still fights dangerous fighters. Berto, he's big, he's strong, he's this, that, and the 30s and Olympian. They're going to bring all this stuff about Berto. Yeah, they want to focus on him. That is because it's Mayweather. People want that man to lose so bad. Like, it seems like they lose sleep over it.
Yeah.
Man, Pacquiao could have beat Mayweather and said he's fighting Rod Salka, and they would have been like, yeah, you see that shot he ate from Danny Garcia? He has a
Straight up.
Like, come on, man. Rod Salka,
it was impressive the way Rod Salka went to the ground, wasn't it, boy? That's why Pacquiao fighting. He fighting the real warrior, because real warriors get knocked out. Yeah.
I already said it. If Pacquiao can fight Chris Algieri, and Triple G can fight 33 taxi drivers, you can't say nothing to me about Floyd Mayweather fighting Andre Ward. I don't want to hear it.
Well,
I don't want to hear it. Look, I don't. 33 taxi drivers, nobody elite, nobody in the top 10. They say nothing. Pacquiao fights Chris Algieri, man who had no chance of beating him with 8 knockouts. I don't want to hear it.
Not only that, Miss Boxing baby, but you were the one that said you were doing the press conference and everyone kept starting the conversation off saying, how terrible the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight was, in comparison to what the Canelo-Cotto fight is going to be. Do you guys really think that if Manny Pacquiao's hand would have been raised, people would be talking about how terrible the fight is or was? They wouldn't do it.
Nah,
because
not to mention. Yeah, you're right.
Go ahead, Austin. Go ahead, Austin.
Not to mention, the only reason why the fight was terrible is Pacquiao's fault. It's all Pacquiao's fault. The fight would have been good if Pacquiao would have tried to do something. After he got hit with a couple of right hands, he was gunshot from mud. And Floyd hit him almost 2 times as much as Pacquiao tried to hit him. Once he went to 90-something, like, stop it. Mayweather beat the hell out of him and hit him in exciting fashion for Mayweather. We was waiting for Pacquiao to bring that dog out of Mayweather.
Yeah.
And he couldn't do it.
Well,
I don't understand how people thought that fight was going to be any different. Here you have a man in Marquez who's not even half the counter-puncher Mayweather is, and he lands consistent right hands on Pacquiao. What they thought Floyd was going to do to him? I don't understand what they thought that matchup was going to be. I called that fight. I said he's going to dominate him every single round.
But you just said it, though. But you just said it, Boxing Baby. You just said it. Marquez versus Pacquiao. The third one, that was a technical fight. Nobody's talking about how terrible that fight was. A lot of people may say Marquez won. They thought Marquez won. But no one talks about how it was a boring, terrible fight. And that was an extreme technical type of fight. Right? So, we know what time it is. But, once again, that's what it is when you Floyd Mayweather.
There's a misconception, too, that a lot of fighters are fighting a certain way just because they want to give to the fans and there's machismo. Marquez doesn't have the speed of Floyd Mayweather. So when he's in wars with Pacquiao, it's because he doesn't have – and Marquez is one of my favorites, FYI, but Marquez doesn't possess the same abilities, the speed, the finesse, the cat-like reflexes of Mayweather. That's why he's in war with Pacquiao, because he's a very good counterpuncher, but he doesn't have the athleticism and speed, and he doesn't process data as quickly as Floyd Mayweather. You know what I mean? Guys like Timothy Bradley, he doesn't really have the most power at 147, but he's very athletic. So these other fights, they're not doing it because they're doing it because that's how they fight. That's their style. And people think they're taking more punishment because another reason, because they're trying to entertain. You have to get into the fight the best way you know how.
But look,
Marquez is a counter puncher that waits for an opening. Mayweather doesn't wait for an opening; he creates them. Marquez has always fought like that, and Pacquiao's always there to be open. That's why no matter when they fight, what age, however many times they fight, it'll always be close. But I compared that fight to say you had a man in Mayweather who's a 10-time better counter puncher than him. Speed, better skills. What did they think that he was going to do to Pacquiao? They was hoping Pacquiao caught him with something and put him to sleep. That's what they was waiting on for the whole 12 rounds. Because had that happened, you wouldn't be hearing nothing about anything else. That's what they were waiting for.
Yeah, but
another thing with Mayweather and Pacquiao, if you look at the whole fight, this is how I know who knows their boxing, who's just like hates Floyd and who's casual and stuff like that. If you really know your boxing, Floyd actually fought more aggressive than he normally does. He came out round one with Pacquiao.
Yeah.
He came out like guns blazing. But people instead, because they hate Floyd, they're going to say, oh, he ran and all this dumb stuff. But if you really know boxing, that was actually a more aggressive Floyd to establish his dominance and let Pacquiao know there's nothing to play with because he's a tricky southpaw. So he actually came out more aggressive than he has versus Robert Guerrero. He was very tentative the first 3 rounds, measuring and collecting data. But he didn't do that with Pacquiao. So that's how I know, based on the comments, who knows boxing.
Yeah, like I said, man, it's completely therapeutic for them. These people, they don't care how entertaining the fight was. All they wanted to see was Manny Pacquiao get the W. Like I tell people all the time, when you watch soccer, and I don't really watch soccer, sometime, I'll be in a waiting room and it'll be up on TV and I'll watch then. But when you watch soccer, they can go for a whole hour without scoring a point. Right, and then the game, the game could end 1-0, And soon as one team scores, the crowd goes crazy, and they're happy. The reason why they're happy is because that's an indication that their country was better than the other country. So they don't care how much excitement and entertainment was involved. They just want their team to beat the other team. So it's the same thing applies to the sport of boxing, you know. So, like I said, until Floyd Mayweather loses, you know, people are going to be upset. And it's just therapeutic for them to hate. That's what it is.
To criticize Floyd, but yet they continue to put Amir Khan on a pedestal who has a chin made of paper. I just don't. I don't understand it. I'm never going to understand. They put this man on a pedestal, always one punch away from being put to sleep, but they criticize everything Floyd does in the ring. I don't understand.
You're not real fans. You're not fans of boxing.
Is not calling out Keith Thurman or anybody. He knows he doesn't have a chin. He's calling out Floyd for the money. Please.
Yeah.
Not going away to make the $8 million to fight Kell Brook. I mean.
Yeah. Speaking of Kell Brook, go ahead, Ego. We're going to get into Kell Brook after that.
No, you can move it forward because I know you want to talk about Brook and Bradley, right?
Yeah. I wanted to talk about Brook versus Bradley. Might as well start off with you, Boxing Ego. So this is somewhat of an upgrade, right? Because they were talking about Bradley versus either Rios or Saddam Ali. Now we may get Bradley versus Brook. That's a hell of a fight, and it's even more of a tougher fight for Tim Bradley, right, Boxing Ego?
Oh yeah, that's more meaningful than any of those other fights. Saddam Ali is a good fight for anyone, but I think this is a better blockbuster fight. Like it would generate more interest and money between the casual fans, and it's also a meaningful fight because Bradley is the WBO champion. He got the vacant belt, and then Kell Brook being the IBF champion. And, I mean, I've actually been disappointed in Kell Brook since the Sean Porter. Like, I got it. He got stabbed, so he came back and fought his mandatory and JoJo Jan. But then Frankie Gavin, just doesn't make sense. So if he were to scrap with a guy like Timothy Bradley, that's definitely a worthy opponent. Bradley has a slept-on resume, and I have no complaints with the fight.
Austin, what do you think about that fight, Bradley versus Brook? How does it play out?
I like the fight. I think Kell Brook is going to take that one, though. Bradley's very battle-worn. You know, Kell Brook, he's a fighter. He's a good boxer. And, you know, to be honest, Bradley he should have never went to 147. He was a king at 140. But he went up to 47 to get the Pacquiao fight. Well, you know, I can't be mad at him. He got one win. Not that I thought he deserved it, but it set him up. He should have gone back down to 140. He's too small.
Yeah.
I think Kell Brook is going to beat him kind of easy. I see him fighting him the way he did Sean Porter.
Yeah.
Every time because Bradley gets wild. He's been in a lot of wars. He's showing up. I think that he's going to beat him easy.
That's so crazy because Bradley and Sean Porter, they are such, you know, similar type fighters. You know, their style is so similar. So yeah, man. I mean, I really hope Bradley can pull it out, but it's an uphill battle. It's a real uphill battle against Kell Brook. Go ahead, Ego.
The thing I was gonna say with Bradley that I wish, hopefully he hears the show. I wish he would not necessarily. I feel like in recent memory, he's kind of fought with a chip on his shoulder, even past the Ruslan-Provodnikov fight, and kind of fighting to I've heard him in interviews, and he's like, "Oh, I'm doing this." Because the fans want to see this. He can actually box and he can brawl, but now it's kind of bleeding together. Like he's fighting like Jesse Vargas. You were doing something successful for 11 rounds, and then you switch and have a different game plan in the 12th round when you were pretty much beating up on the kid and dominating Vargas, and then that's where he got caught. Or he was fighting Diego Chavez and he was very aggressive, then he got the headbutt. So I want Bradley to just kind of go back to the basics and not let the fans, because the fans aren't going to be there at the end of the day if you start taking L's. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So just go back to the basics and, you know, and your abilities and get the wins in the best way. Like when he fought Marquez, I thought that was the Bradley that I'd like to see versus Jesse Vargas. You know what I mean? Just the smart Bradley, athletic, quick, fast reflex, that type of thing. Because he fought Marquez smart. But the Ruslan fight, Vargas, and then Diego Chavez, at points he was kind of wild and it was like he was trying to put on the show or prove that he has power. And you can't do that because that's when errors happen.
And that's just him, because even in the Marquez fight, he didn't start off boxing. He tried to bang until he got caught and realized that Marquez was not like some other dudes. Then he started boxing. All his fights, he tried to bang out. Every last one of them. And to me, I think they've started to catch up to him. He looks like he's a shot, like a battle-worn fighter.
Well,
to me, that's what I see.
Well, I think it's a lot of scar tissue too.
That's what I was about to say.
His face looked kind of swole up.
And he only got hit with like a couple punches in that fight, and you could already see, that he was swelling up off of like 2 or 3 punches. It seems like, So it'll be an uphill battle. Now let's also go ahead and talk a little bit about this Gennady Golovkin versus Lemieux fight. Should be an interesting fight. Austin, how do you see that fight playing out, Austin?
I think Golovkin's gonna go ahead and win that. If we look at the common opponents, I believe it was Rubio that knocked Lemieux out, and then Rubio's gotten knocked out by Golovkin.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at Rosado was in there. A lot more he was in there with Triple G.
Yeah.
But, Lemieux points, but that's about it. Golovkin got the Olympic background. I think it's gonna be a good fight for a while. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I think what this is gonna show is Golovkin can really take a punch.
Yeah.
I think that's what it really is gonna show us.
If he gets hit, because his trainer, Abel Sanchez, he surprised me. He just recently said that Golovkin is going to go in there and pot shot. He said he's going to be using his jab and pot shotting. So we might see, instead of Golovkin doing quote unquote Mexican style, we might see him in there floating like a butterfly, stinging like a bee. So if that's the case, which I think that's smart for Golovkin. I mean, I know eventually he'll get aggressive and try to knock out Lemieux, but what Abel is saying is he's going to fill him out. He's going to try to, outbox him a little bit and, of course, catch him and then hurt him. But like Austin said, if he gets caught, we'll see how he could take a punch. Another comparison that I noticed when it comes to Rubio is Rubio wasn't even really a boxer, and Rubio was outboxing Rubio. So if Rubio can outbox, Rubio, you can imagine what Golovkin can do to Rubio. So, but I still...
You just say Rubio outboxing Rubio.
What'd you say?
Rubio outboxing... You said if Rubio outboxed Rubio. You said that a couple times.
Oh, my bad. You know what I mean. Yeah, Rubio outboxing Lemieux. Yeah.
I think he's going to box him for a couple of rounds, and then Lemieux's going to be punching, swinging, missing, getting tired, and he's going to put him to sleep, and the fight's going to be over in 6.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to be calling for Andre Ward, the fight I think he needs to take, but it's never going to happen, so it's just wishful thinking. Yeah. I mean, this fight is just like all the other. I don't know why people keep saying, see, this is how they're building the fight up. Saving David Lemieux is a puncher, but if you watch his style, it's going to play right into Triple G's hands. See, people don't know that, though. You watch his style.
Yeah.
It's tailor-made for Triple G. Yeah. He's going to knock him out. Maybe even earlier than everybody else. Because he's not going to get hit flush. Yeah. He's too wild. He gashes out early. He's going to knock him out.
Yeah, David Lemieux, he doesn't have the best defense. And to correct it once again, I want to go ahead and reiterate, Rubio was outboxing David Lemieux. So if Rubio could outbox Lemieux, imagine what Golovkin can do to Lemieux. So, we'll see.
I agree.
Yeah, we'll see.
And the other thing that I'm thinking of is David Lemieux lost to Hoshim Al-Sin. To me, that dude's, no disrespect, but he's a bum to me. You know what I'm saying?
He was good when he was undefeated, though. But yeah, I feel what you're saying.
Nah, but he still was never that what he was portrayed to be. Hoshim Al-Sin. So
yeah,
I think he's steamrolled by Triple G, to be honest. Now, the thing that makes it intriguing is if he does land something of note, how would Triple G handle it? But based on everything I've seen, Triple G delivers his offense way better. Lemieux's real wide. It looked like he even got hurt by Hassan Indam in the 12th round.
Yeah, it did.
Going to steamroll him.
Yeah. Now, and we're down to 2 minutes, guys. I wanted to also touch on this. Brian Jennings, man. Brian Jennings. I really like Brian Jennings, but according to reports, he just turned down what would have been a dynamite fight, and it would have been on the Golovkin versus Lemieux undercard, which would have made that a very nice card. It would have been Brian Jennings versus Luis Ortiz, the Cuban knockout artist. That would have been impressive, but Brian Jennings, he turned down the fight. And I interviewed Andy Ruiz, and the undefeated Andy Ruiz, and he told me, matter of fact, Andy Ruiz, if you guys haven't seen him, he basically did a makeover. He done lost a lot of weight. He damn near looked like a bodybuilder now. And Andy Ruiz told me that Jennings has also turned down a fight with him as well. So Austin Trout, I mean, what you think about your boy Brian Jennings? Is he just waiting to get another a shot at the title, or should he be fighting these young, hungry lions that's calling him out?
Well, I think he feels like he's at the point where he's taking on the hungry lions to get to the Klitschko. He had a good fight against Klitschko, and I guess he's feeling like fighting another hungry lion is taking a step backwards.
Mm-hmm.
That feeling will probably go away if he doesn't land a big fight soon. So in that sense, he might wish that he took that fight, because I'm sure they offer some good money.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't blame him. He was in a higher position.
Okay.
He might not want that problem right now.
All right.
Or if he needed it.
All right, and Austin, before we run out of time, I gotta ask you, man. So, assuming you get past Joey, which I believe, I know you are, and no disrespect to Joey Hernandez, but who do you want?
I disrespect that part, man.
Huh?
You said, no, I'm sorry, you can disrespect that, Sean.
I thought you said delete that part. Yeah. Who do you want, Austin? Who do you want after that? What if you picture yourself in a big HBO or I should say Al Heyman pay-per-view, whatever, who's the opponent? Who do you want?
If you look at the landscape and you look at the politics that's going to happen, that's happening, especially in my weight class. For instance, I would love winner or loser of the Canelo-Cotto fight. But we know that's not going to happen. Delaware is suing my man Al for, the $300 million for some bogusness, and Al and the nation don't get along.
Yeah.
So, forget about that. I don't feel like that's going to happen. Probably not ever. What I have left is, I might as well take on these hungry lions that are coming up.
There it is.
So I'm looking at this cat, J-Rock, who's been calling me out. I'm looking at the Charlo twins. I was looking at Andrade, but he lost his belt, so there really is no point in taking that fight. I do want to be champ again. I do want to get a belt, especially before they don't meet much. Don't get me wrong, World Champ means a lot to me. But
I hear you.
Now, the best gonna fight the best.
I hear you, man. I got it.
Looking at these undefeated prospects, undefeated hungry lions that are in the way for me being a top dog in the weight class.
All right. Hey, well, you guys heard it from my man Austin Trout. I got to wrap it up. Once again, man, good luck on September 8th, Austin Trout. And I want to thank you for joining the panel. My girl, Miss Boxing Baby, Boxing Ego, and your boy Dante's Boxing Nation. We'll see you guys next week, same time. It's the Nation, baby.